Welcome everybody to Lawyer TV. I'm Lawyer Henderson. I'm your host. Today I'm talking about the 19-year-old girl, Kenneka Jenkins, who 2.5 years ago was found dead in a freezer. Now, we know that this case has been all over the press and then has quieted down. And it was also seen as if her mother was supposed to take the hotel to trial. Well, we're still waiting on that trial. After getting this crooked bootlicking attorney Larry Rogers, who we pretty much dig deeper, or according to Dr. Ali, supposedly had worked for the Rosemont City Police Department, somebody, I don't know. So they keep on getting these people who are working for the people who pretty much did this and cover up her daughter's case. These clowns like Andrew Holmes, or But anyway, I wanted to, pretty much, come back to this case after, Zach TV was found dead. I mean, I looked at Zach and shouts out and rest in peace, Zach Stoner. You did a great job as being a journalist, and pretty much much respect and family, everyone that love him, along with his homeboy there in Chicago. Anyway, Zach TV suggests that his house was broken in, and they were trying to find some tapes where he had some interviews and evidence of interviews with the security guard, interview with the managers that was there that night. He had a lot of evidence in the case. Now, if the police department in Rosemont, who claims that they investigated the case thoroughly, if you really investigated the case thoroughly, then why would you then pretty much close it real quick and refuse the help from the FBI to pretty much, suggest that, to make sure that the public know that there is no foul play or whatever, as far as also no police involvement, corruption. You see, this police chief did none of this, okay? And then you get a statement online here, October 25th, 17. This witness talked to a detective, Kova, okay? He came forward and said he was there when the security officer and him was down there in that freezer. So that opens really up the case back into being an investigation. This witness is online, but they have already closed the case. They closed the case on October the 20th. So the witness came forward on October the 25th, 2017, according to the statement. Now, the mother, Teresa Martin, she first got Larry Rogers as her attorney. And Larry Rogers, as I told you, is this old bootlicking, butt-dancing Negro. Then they had Andrew Holmes, who was the bootlicking Negro who worked inside the police department. He comes out claiming he's a civil rights activist. You had all of these bootlicking Negroes who pretty much helps white supremacy to suppress us. These old bootlicking, butt-dancing Negroes that you got always coming to try to appease the crowd. The fact is that this clown should have never, ever been out there. And now you see, like I said, the mom and the daughter always going places together. There's no man in the picture. And that is, I try to tell black women, that is a mistake. That's a mistake. While you fighting the black man, these folks are over here killing your kids for their organs. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're engaging in all types of corruption. Then let me read this statement here, okay, of what her attorney said here on page 3, and this is on September this is when I got it, the paperwork work right here. He said, and this is the attorney quoting, "We believe that it's very possible, for the reasons that we cannot explain, without ever looking in the freezer, someone came and locked this freezer door so that Kenneka could not exit." He said at a news conference near Midway Airport. That theory, however, is contradicted by videos released by Rosemont Police after their investigation concluded in October of 2017. You see why we need independent news press. You see why we need independent news press. We are relying up on people who are working for corporations who owns these news press. You all know that damn video was doctored. You had editing in those videos every damn where. You mean to tell me that? And then I seen her news press release also on local news, where they showed her walking with her friends, and they're gonna show her coming downstairs by herself to try to throw off the investigation. Y'all, man, this police department is nothing but a bunch of white supremacists, Ku Klux Klan members, and this whole racist police chief and this racist mayor. All of these people should resign. And then you have Andrew Holmes, this old bootlicking Negro. He's phoning up Teresa Martin, as I recall, telling her to stop the protest because the hotel is losing money. Are you kidding me? You all worried about money when there's a life loss? See how white people and white supremacists, they don't care nothing about nobody but money. They're all about money. Something that you're not going to be able to take with you when you die. This girl's case needs to be reopened. Let me just read the where's the report? The toxicology and the medical examiner report. You see how they dress this up in line? Look at this. I thought that this was very suspicious. You see that exam by Christian E. Howe. Then supervising medical examiner Christian Escobar Averinga. This lady from India or Pakistan. Who's to say that she's not using her married name to do the examination and then using her maiden name to do as a supervisor? But anyway, even if that's a coincidence, fine. We go through this medical report. It's everywhere. Lying. She's trying to make her opinions seem like this is an accident. Bull crap. You left out certain instances of where there's pictures that shows that there's abrasions on her leg. Blood in there. You didn't mention that there was, pieces and particles of trash bags that was right there by her foot that indicated at some point that she may have been smothered. That pretty much goes along with the witness statement that you all rejected on October 25th, 2017. And then on top of that, we looked at the timeline here. It suggested that also that even when you all was supposedly investigating the case, you had the damn security guard going all over the place. Now, some people said that he wasn't involved. I believe he was. The fact is that he gonna move his ass out of town. No one ever heard from him again. It just so happens that he, in his police report, is going to say, well, I'll be out of town in 2 weeks. I'll be out of town in 2 weeks. Yeah. And then, not shockingly, Zach Stoner's house get broken into because they're looking for the interviews that he did, which will then corroborate with what the witness statement was saying. That's the reason why the FBI had to come in here. See, every local police department engaged in the cover-up. Los Angeles Police Department, as you know, is corrupt. Chicago Police Department, the biggest corrupt police department. Every police department engaged in a cover-up. This is the reason why we in the black community cannot trust the police. They are a bunch of lying. These are members of the Ku Klux Klan. A lot of them. I told you about that story that I did on that those two white guys. They were members of the Ku Klux Klan. This is the reason why we can't get no justice, because a woman came out on ABC News, this black woman, she said there was a lot of police officers who are members of the Ku Klux Klan and they're working in certain police department, and the FBI knows about these clowns and still will not go after them. And so I have to go back there and read her interview. It's all over the news, and I'm like, wow. But anyway, let's go back to this particular situation. Whenever there's not evidence, the police department is supposed to, well, whenever a witness comes forward, the police department is supposed to reopen up the case. Now, these clowns it says, well, we're not going to reopen up the case, you know. Then it says that her thymus is not identified. Wow. Wait a minute. And then it almost seems as if somebody turned on the freezer. It is a lot of coincidence. And I want to thank you, Nancy Grace, for making sure that that story had stayed in the news. But we need to bring that story back into the news media, because we have some conflicting evidence even from her homegirls. But I'm not saying that her homegirls are involved. Pretty much they might have been negligent, but I'm like Zach TV. I'm not accusing our homegirls for them. They might have been some little docs. They might have been walking around here being some little whores. Okay, it was negligent of their friend, but I'm not going to say that they were involved. Let me just tell you this. Even you white people who are talking about, the security guard didn't have anything to do with it, even if you can say that, you still also have to then admit that he was there and he allowed those goons to come and gang rape her. If you're going to say that the security guard is innocent, he was negligent in his job. I used to be a security guard, worked for the sheriff department, and the first thing